Okay, so let me just kind of get to the point. Yeah, so the point was, if there's anybody that knows what it's like to be mistreated and then have someone turn around and accuse you of that same mistreatment, but then also get, treated like, it's hard. It's hard to watch that. Not to mention, that's a very severe example. That's a very extreme case of it. But I mean, at the very, fundamental level, just going through life being misunderstood, it's hard to know that because intentions, good intentions or whatever, I have my own opinion on that, but knowing that not only do you not have ill will towards people, but you've spent most of your life trying to learn how to communicate with people and how to treat people in a way that goes it far exceeds what is even expected or acceptable, to be a decent human. It's no one has to or should feel the need. It's definitely not required to understand people enough to where you can accommodate their lack of communication skills, things like that. But to do it because, number one, it's exhausting to always be misunderstood and always to, but also because, because it's what you do when you care about someone. It's what you do when you care. So I felt like is controversial, I guess, or is kind of, it's not, I know it's complex, for lack of better words, but I believe that God doesn't have a problem with me really just wanting to understand the things that happened way back when, because I think that if you don't understand fully how it all goes, if you don't know the beginning, if there's something, you have to understand, it. I wish I could make words right now. I think I don't know what to do. Because I feel like I want to do this, I do want to. It's very important to me. So I'm just going to keep pushing through. And every time I get, I'll just take a break for a minute and then come back, But, everything comes full circle, If you don't understand the beginning, then, you really would, if you don't know that, then what do you know? So I just feel like there's a part of, I'm just gonna say it. God, I'm sorry. A part of me wonders if it really was God that said you can't eat from the tree. A part of me wonders if God would ever, I don't think he would. If anything, maybe he would say, if you do this, this is what's going to happen, but it's your choice to make. But from my understanding, and this is kind of on an intuitive level, but also from what I understand, from scripture and just, the events as they have been recalled to my knowledge, it seems like when Lucifer was the cherubim, I guess is what they called him, the specific type of angel that he was, but when they were in heaven, and from my understanding too, God was never actually involved in this firsthand. He was always kind of seated on his throne, and Michael the archangel and maybe some other guys, they were, I guess Michael was God's right-hand man, from my understanding, and then Lucifer was one of the, would be very closely ranking under him, and he had others under him, and it was this guy talking about God, and this is not, please understand that, I'm just saying, this is kind of my understanding of it, or my, how I like, yeah, like how I took it or like perceived it. Like the picture that's painted in my head is he's like, this guy thinks he knows everything, you know, like he doesn't want us to know everything. He wants us to stay down here, and like he has all the knowledge, he has everything, and like it's just BS pretty much. And Michael was like, you know, no, like you know, basically like fighting this battle for God, you know. And when they got into it, I mean, it's my understanding that was actually how Satan and his angels, like the ones that he was in charge of, like they were cast out of heaven, from my understanding. Either that, or like for some reason I also feel like I've heard that they kind of were like, no, we want to go, like we don't want to be here, we would rather be down there anyway. We're like, people keep it real. I don't know, I'm not trying to make a joke out of it, but so this is what is crazy to me though, like this is what I don't understand. You know, there's just things that don't make sense to me. Okay, so like I'm kind of jumping all over the place because I don't know if you can tell, like it's just kind of hard for me just to come right out and say this stuff, because it feels like it's going against everything. I mean, it is, you know, but like, why did God send watchers down here when like he didn't trust men, you know, like he didn't trust them, like he created Adam and that whole deal, and then like they were, you know, obviously they were like or say obviously, like, you know, as legend has it, whatever, like they were sent out of the garden, you know, and then he sent watchers down, like because he didn't think that they were going to be able to, like they weren't following the rules, I guess. But then the watchers ended up corrupting mankind even worse. But again, that doesn't seem like God to me. Like, to me it paints the picture, and I'm gonna just say it. I'm gonna say how I feel. I have a right to do that in my own home. I need to talk this out. It's in my head. It's been in my head. I have to understand it. God, I'm recording this, but I don't even know if I'm ever going to do anything with it. God, I want to talk this out, and I want you to help me understand this, because I think that it is crucial. I feel like everything is dependent on me understanding this, because I just do. I think it's that important. It makes God seem like he doesn't have control, and he never has. It makes it seem like he doesn't have a clue. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. That's why I'm saying I want to understand where the discrepancy is. I want to understand why, when you look at the Bible from that, you know, from a certain perspective, like, even if it is this perspective, I'm not saying this is true, but I'm saying if you were to look at the main, like the bullet points, like the events as they transpire throughout the Bible, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, all the way from Adam and Eve, the garden, Lucifer fall, you know, how you know, like Lucifer falling from heaven with his, you know, a third of the angels, the flood, the Nephilim, the Watchers, the rainbow after the flood, you know, like Jesus, you know, the birth of Jesus, the death of Jesus, everything that, you know, the Holy Spirit, like all of that. If you were to look at all of that from this perspective, is it really far-fetched? Or could you say that maybe it kind of seems like, again, I don't believe this. I want to understand but I'm saying, like, doesn't it kind of seem, can you see where maybe that's possible? That it seems like God was bored and said, let there be light. Let there be, you know, and then he did this, and then he did that, and then he was like, okay, well, I'm bored, like, let me create a man. So he did that, and then the man was just sitting there bored too, so he was like, let me create a woman from him. And then he's like, okay, well then everything happened, you know, so he was like, okay, like, you know, it's like, it seems like he doesn't know what he's doing. You know? He's like, don't eat from this tree or you will die. And then they did it, and he was like, okay, like I'm coming down there, you know, and he goes down there and he's like, I told you not to do, you know, like, you had one job, you know, I told you one thing not to do, you did it, like, get out, you know. But then he's like, okay, come here, like, well, come on, you're embarrassed because you're naked, like, he gave him they had fig leaves, you know. Well, then that's why, like, they ended up getting, like, the animal clothing, you know, like, and they were saying, I heard something the other day that was saying, like, that's when the first animal sacrifices started, like, that's why, like, but again, like, that seems like some Satan thing. That seems like Satan to me. Is what it seems like. Because I think that God would never say, like, okay, well, you don't do this. Okay, well, you did it. That's why you feel shameful now. But, okay, come here. Well, let me clothe you, you know. And then he's like, oh, like, everything's so corrupt. Like, Noah, like, build the ark and everything. I mean, I'm going to flood the whole earth. And then after he floods the earth, he's like, okay, well, this is the rainbow. This is my promise that I'm never going to do that again. Like, to me, that seems like, what does that mean? Like, was it like, am I bad? Like, oh, yeah, not going to do that again. The rainbow, that's what that's for. Like, it just, I feel like there's something that I'm missing. Because I feel like I know God. And I feel like, for one thing, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. For one thing, if God never had a say-so in Lucifer's leaving in the first place, what happened there? Like, did Michael was that Michael's place to fight that battle and kick him out and kind of initiate this, like, what would like, look where that's gotten us, you know, like, look how far things have went and progressed from that. And then you have these watchers that come down to watch human men, you know, like, actual men, and they're like killing each other or whatever is going on, that they're like, well, let me show you, like, let me give you a weapon so you can protect yourself. Like, did that corrupt them? Or were they trying to help them? You know? And then, like, okay, so the other thing with, like, the Nephilim, like, the trees that apparently, and, like, I don't know if this is true, but, like, supposedly these huge, like, mesa, like, tabletop, like, these big plateau looking things, like, out in, like, I don't know where, I guess they have them all over, but, like, in, you know, like, other countries. But supposedly they are the, like, the actual tree trunks, or, like, the stumps from, like, these trees that during, like, I guess the pre-flood, you know, like, before Noah's Ark, like, these Nephilim, which were, like, the sons of, like, the fallen angels and, like, women or whatever, like, but they would come to and from heaven using those trees, which is like Jack and the Beanstalk. I'm guessing that's where that came from. But, you know what I mean? Like, I guess these things are, like, everything is very intricately, like, connected and stuff, and it's crazy and, like, mind-blowing. But at the very, very, like, at the core of it all, you know, that does seem like something Satan would do, would be to cut the trees. Because when you're going back and forth from earth to heaven, there's a lot less chance of things getting misconstrued and words getting twisted and manipulation, which, who does that sound like? Is that God's name of the game? Deceit, manipulation, triangulation, cutting people off, divide and conquer. Is that one of God's, strategies? Does that sound like the characteristics that are most closely related to him? No. That's Satan. And I just feel like there is just so much deception, and there is so much misunderstanding, miscommunication. For example, I was reading I was reading about, the revelation as it, the prophecies about the end times and the, God's wrath, and literally fire raining down from the sky, from the heavens. And it's God's wrath, is what it is. But I also think it's very coincidental. And this is just a thought that I had. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not claiming to be a biblical scholar by any means. But does it not seem again, a very Satan-like, does this not sound like one of his moves? So you have the Antichrist emerging on the scene, and he's basically the knockoff Jesus, and people love that. So I mean, I said, that's I know that life of the, look at me. I'm like, no, you're me. You're trying to beat them. No, you're not. Whatever. But anyway. But so he's gonna perform all these miracles and wonders. He's gonna wow people, really. And I think that it's gonna be with things like fire raining down from the sky. And I'm saying that I really think, because I've seen it in my own life. I've seen people do this. And I don't know if it's a spirit that, kind of it's this instinctual. I don't know how much they're consciously even aware that they're doing it. I don't know. But I'm saying that I would not be surprised at all if God's wrath is, comes in the form, or when it comes in the form of fire, literally fire raining down from the heavens, and it just happens to be the simultaneous, moment of the Antichrist saying, and now watch this, boom, and people are, it's Jesus, he's came back, he's back, it's him, look, You know what? Let's even take it a step further. These are so hypothetical, it is not even funny. This is more hypothetical than hypothetical could ever be. Okay? But let's say that this fire raining down from the sky, let's say it even makes contact with someone or a lot of someone's and kills them. Does it seem really far-fetched to think that, I don't know, that the Antichrist or Satan or any of his, people would even say that, they were evil and that's what they deserved, And I say that because I was just literally talking earlier about the dog that attacked me, literally ate my face, like wolf dog. Latched only, did not snap at me, went in for the kill and had to be put down. And that's so sad. And It is sad. And it's sad because when I looked at the dog, I knew that he knew he did something wrong. I mean, he was scared. I could see it in him. I could see him when he came out of it and realized what he had done. He was scared. But I heard from someone told someone, and it got back to me or whatever, that the owner of the dog said that the dog could sense the evil in me, and that's why the dog attacked me. And then of course that person lost their dog because it had to be put down because it attacked me. So there's a lot of, and you know what? I questioned it. I did. I don't, because that makes me sad, but if it's true, I'd rather know. Especially if it means if I'm evil, I don't want to get my face bit off again, you know? But I know this, I know that I don't go around calling people demons. I don't go around just telling people I fight demons, you know? I don't go around, I mean, I'm tired, and I didn't even get into it all. I did the stuff I wanted to. I think I'm going to charge my phone for a minute. I'm going to try to charge my battery a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I'm probably going to fall asleep. I want to do this more often. Like, when I say more often, I mean like every day. And I want to I'm going to because I have, and these things are so, and there's power in the spoken word. I realize that now. I realize that now because when I said that, and I'm going to say it again, I'm going to go back to what I'm going to pause this and then I'm going to go back to it. I am, though, before I close out for the night.